We all have biases. Yes, it is okay to admit that. You may prefer Coke to Pepsi, Nike to Adidas, hard rock to country. It is also okay to lean one way or the other in political perspectives. In fact, it is okay to lean into different political platforms depending on the issue. The key is to recognize when bias turns into manipulation. Let's talk a minute about confirmation bias. This is when you believe something because it conforms to your preconceptions. The information you have been given confirms something you already thought. You don't actually have to think. This is often related to your personal political biases. Most of you know that social media sites have algorithms that feed you more of what you seem to be interested in. Very few take it one step further to think how that barrage of information that caters to your political and social point of view actually skews your knowledge. If you only ever see one side of an issue, you really have no idea what's going on. If everyone is in agreement, shown by mostly likes, then there's probably some bias of some kind going on. This tiny narrow part in the middle, the valley of open-mindedness where productive discussions are held, is where you want to be. Looking at alternate points of view with an open mind and willingness to receive facts, even if they contradict your dearly held point of view. You cannot make assumptions about accuracy based on whether or not it seems right. Fortunately, there are a lot of places to look for more accurate information. Ads are not necessarily a bad thing, but when there are ads, look at them to see if they're politicized. If a site is taking money from an organization it is supposed to be evaluating, it cannot be unbiased.
Reliable news agencies are as rare as hen's teeth. The modern media landscape is largely split between traditional entertainment conglomerates like Disney, Comcast, and Warner Brothers, and big tech platforms like Alphabet, Meta, Amazon, and Apple. They control digital distribution and audience reach. Getting your news from these sources limits you to their point of view, whether you like it or not. Aggregators like Reuters and AP gather news from a variety of sources rather than create it themselves. They maintain a strong fact-checking staff to avoid repeating fake news. Even better are certain foreign news agencies. They do not have a stake in American politics, but are often overlooked because they do not have a strong presence. That low presence is actually what makes them better. They are simply doing their job without shoving their agenda down your throat every day.
The two most well-known channels in the US are Fox and CNN, but both have heavy biases, with each leaning in different directions. If you grew up in a house that watched primarily one or the other, you have developed biases based on your exposure to what you've been told is true. What about people from the other side? How can they be just as right as you are? Because belief is stronger than truth. Your job as a college student is to learn how to explore topics to find the underlying truth. It can be especially hard with new news, but there are some things you can do. First, look at the source. If the author won't put their name on it, don't take it seriously. Another really important one to watch for is content that does not really say anything. A lot of adjectives and superlatives can get your attention, but what do they say? Look for specific who, what, when, where, and why. Adjectives not needed. In addition to biased media that are just skewing facts, are sites that blatantly make up stuff to incite emotions. These are surprisingly easy to spot if you want to. All of those previous tips apply here and more. First, does it make sense? The more outrageous, the less likely it is to be true. Other things to look for are, is the URL similar to a legitimate site but not quite? Does the headline match the information in the article? Is it actually a new story or just an old one being recycled for impact? Can you trace the story to its original publisher and source? Can the supporting videos and photos be verified? We all know that Photoshop is really good. Are there citations? And can the quotes be verified? John Adams said this as part of his legal defense of the Redcoats for the Boston Massacre. Like all of us, he would have preferred the English to have started it, but that was simply not true, and when everyone looked at the facts, it became obvious, leading to an acquittal of the Redcoats. Weren't they glad someone was willing to look at facts instead of emotions? One of the most important things you can do to overcome your biases is to travel. Experience will show you what people are like, and then they won't seem so different. It's difference that scares us. Other solutions are to study the ideas more, exploring the many aspects, or find people from other groups to interact with at home or at work. Exposure is the antidote. As always, please contact the library if you have any questions. We're here for you.